we're here today with Professor Colin Masters from the Florey Institute of Neuroscience and Mental Health. Today we'll be talking about amyloid plaques. So I'm really excited about this because Colin's life work has been absolutely fundamental to our understanding of Alzheimer's disease. His contribution to the field, particularly in understanding how amyloid plays a role in Alzheimer's disease, has earned him the nickname Mr. Amyloid amongst us researchers. But more seriously though, his lifelong contribution to research in this field was recently recognised through the award of the Order of Australia. So congratulations on that.
Don't overplay it.
Thank you very much for joining us today.
Right.
So just to start, can you please give us an overview about what amyloid is?
So amyloid is a foreign type of molecule that builds up in the brain. It's not supposed to be there. The body is supposed to clear all this material out of your brain.
Okay.
And if you make too much of it, or if you get old and don't clear it out, then it builds up and then causes trouble in the brain. So these molecules look something like this, that we have, this is of course two molecules of this amyloid protein that's come together, and it aggregates. So two of these go together to make four of these.
Wow.
So it's a dimer, giving rise to a tetramer. And this stuff builds up in the brain over a long period of time. Most people can clear it out, but if you've got the wrong environment or the wrong genetics, then the clearance mechanisms fail. And as it builds up, the synapses in the brain become very sick and they don't work so well. And you recognize this because people develop cognitive impairment because one nerve cell is not talking properly to the other nerve cell.
Right. And this forms the basis for Alzheimer's disease.
And so it's the build-up of this amyloid which actually is the cause of Alzheimer's disease. There are many other changes which occur downstream of the build-up, such as the accumulation of the tau protein and other proteins, but the primary driver of Alzheimer's disease is this buildup of this amyloid protein.
Okay, so what you're saying is that it's the initial cause and then it gives rise to a whole heap of other things that happen.
Correct.
That leads to brain volume loss and cognitive decline, particularly in memory, that we see in Alzheimer's disease.
That's right, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How does it accumulate?
How does it accumulate? Well, one molecule sees another molecule and they form a dimer like this, and then the dimers, two dimers come together and you get a tetramer. That's how it accumulates. It's very sticky. Each molecule binds to itself, and eventually it forms a long fibril, which is the one that gets stuck in the brain and which we can see by using positron emission tomography and PET scans.
Right, so that's what we're able to do now.
That's right.
And that's
when I started my work, there was no way of visualizing this material in the brain during life. It had to be after death when you looked at the brain tissue. Today we have technologies to actually measure the amount of amyloid as it builds up over a period of time.
Yeah, wow, that's exciting stuff.
And that gives us a window on the natural history of the disease, but it also gives us biomarkers that we can use to test therapeutic interventions to see how we can interfere with this process.
I'm glad that you raised that, because is there anything that we can do? Are there any treatments available to help clear amyloid from the brain?
There's lots of treatments undergoing clinical trials at the moment. The most encouraging one is the use of antibodies directed at this amyloid protein, which when given to a human being cross over the blood-brain barrier and actually promote its clearance out of the brain. But these trials are in progress and we don't yet know the results of many of them. One big trial that was recently announced was a trial from Lilly with a drug called solanezumab. And in the first studies it had a 30% slowing and reduction of rate of cognitive decline, but in the third major study it only had a 15% reduction in the rate of cognitive decline, and that effect was just not strong enough to warrant further development for mild to moderate Alzheimer's disease.
Right.
So the whole field now is moving earlier and earlier
Yes.
to what we call prodromal and preclinical disease, in the expectation that some of these drugs will work much better at the very early stages of the illness.
Okay, so it's all about early identification, early treatment.
That's right.
Now.
But these new techniques
Yes.
allow us to identify individuals who are on the amyloid pathway and who have genetic predisposition to make them at higher risk than others in the community.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you very much for that really nice overview about amyloid and that summary. That is all that we have for today. Thank you very much for joining us. And if you have any suggestions or topics that you'd like to talk to us about, that you'd like us to talk about in the future, please let us know in the comments.